You could say that meditation is learning to stay with ourselves. This is something that most of us didn't have modeled for us in our younger years. And sometimes leaving the experience was the most intelligent thing we could do because it was too much for the nervous system. But a meditation practice is a slow but sure reclaiming that capacity to stay in close contact with ourselves and with our experience. And there's many habits that became ingrained that were part of leaving our present moment, whether that was thinking, figuring out, planning, focusing on others, and an array of distractions that we may have chosen. And so today I would just like to encourage this exploration of what it is to stay with yourself, to stay with any part of your current moment experience. And as always, it's helpful to break it down into our various ways of experiencing life, what I sometimes call various ways of knowing. And so we can start with the breath. And what is it to just stay with the breath? So attention orients towards that familiar rhythm. And I think the capacity to stay with something is enhanced when we can when we can be with it as though for the first time. So opening to the breath and letting go of trying to engage with the breath or even trying to find something interesting about it. That's all kind of mind coming in through the back door. But instead, just to open to the breath as it is without any expectations, without needing to be entertained. In a way, you could say, if anything, we are joining with the breath. And as this intention of staying with ourselves weaves its way into our time together today, there's no doubt times where we will leave the experience of the breath in this case. But we can also stay with ourselves in the leaving. And then come back. Come back to this rhythm. I think the other thing that's really helpful in staying with ourselves is letting go of the notion that you're gaining anything from what you're doing, that is going to lead to anything different or better than this moment. Because that orientation certainly creates dissatisfaction with what we encounter in our moment to moment experience. So we stay with ourselves. Why? because this is our life, this is our experience, this is what's actually happening right now. This is reality. So to stay with oneself is ultimately a profound expression of sanity. And at the beginning, some effort might need to come in to kind of bring attention back, to corral it in a way, to coax it back to the rhythm of the breath, to the experience of the breath. See if you can use the least amount of effort possible. And you'll know that through the gradual relaxation, the gradual softening of the body. And in time, the breath begins to draw you in to the point where you are the breath, and the breath is you. And we begin to experience for ourselves the kind of comfort, the sense of coming home that comes with this staying with oneself. We're retraining the system towards this devotion, devotion to what is. And then beyond the breath, we can also open to the entirety of the physical body, invite that into the field of awareness, and then practice staying with the self, with ourselves, with that added component. However the body might be feeling, comfortable, uncomfortable, a blend of both. That's it. And you may also begin to feel kind of a settling and an ungripping of the belly as you open to more and more of your experience and as you practice this staying. I'm here. I'm available. Welcome. We can open as well the field of awareness to the mind, to how it's showing up. So staying with oneself isn't conditional on any particular state. So even if the mind is busy today or persistent, is it possible to stay with the totality of the experience without making any part of it wrong? So to stay with oneself is to be a witness to the mind just as it's showing up. And finally, we can also open the lens to include whatever material is presenting itself from the emotional and energetic realms. I'm here. I'm available. Welcome. It's very nourishing to practice the staying with the self. There's a kind of fullness that one can experience. A settling, an access to which you might call an upgraded version of ourselves, and to the wisdom, the understanding, the peace, the love that are inherent in this higher version of ourselves. And so for the remainder of the meditation, I invite you to stay right here, and to practice that, to practice coming back. Let your staying be soft, spacious, as opposed to effortful and contracted, like you're forcing yourself to stay. It's actually in the spaciousness that you realize that there's nowhere else you could possibly be, because this is it. There's nowhere else you could possibly be. This is it.